before I introduce myself, and if you guys were a fan of our show last season, and if you have even an ounce of intelligence, baka iniisip nyo, who the heck am I with? Okay, so before I introduce them, I would just like to welcome everyone to the much improved, stronger than ever, Discussion Room 95,
Let's go.
Season 2!
Let's go!
Let's go! Okay, now get out. Get out. Okay, we have a show. We have a show. Get out.
Okay, thank you.
Man your stations. Okay.
Alright.
So, starting from the pinaka left, pinaka right, if you're viewing us from YouTube, wink. I'll share that more later. Anyway, so first up is Mr. Derek Lee. Introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Derek Lee. I'm one of the founding fathers of DR95, and I'm the executive producer of this entire thing.
Okay, shout out to actually the first lady of Discussion Room 95.
Wow.
Shout out naman dyan. Shout out naman.
I would like to say hi to my first lady. Let's keep her with the initials NT.
Yes.
My inspiration, and of course, one of the people that helped me drive to make this show to what it is today.
Oh my God.
That's what we're about here. That's what we're about.
Anyway, to his right, one of the most promising young leaders of the University
I
of
agree.
Asia
Hands
and
down.
the Pacific.
Hands down.
Pero ang kapal na mukha niya mag-formal today kasi pag nagmi-meeting kami, naka-t-shirt lang yan. Mr. J.F. Arinas!
Okay, hi guys. Jay Varinas, executive producer or executive director of DR95 and also the editor of DR95.
Jeez.
Anyway.
Take out of here.
And beside me, the one, the only, editor-in-chief and the boss of all of us here. Si Mr. Marco Pantalyon na sumisikip na yung damit kasi Gym Lord na! Mr. Marco
I thought I
Pantalyon.
was supposed to introduce myself.
Introduce yourself.
Okay, sige. So, Marco Pantalyon. I'm a founding father of DR95 with these guys. Incredible people beside me. And editor-in-chief of the Bosun, and happy to be here.
Si Hulk lang incredible.
Okay, so now, guys,
Sorry.
now the most important part of the show, your main host. Joke lang. Anyway, my name is Kyle Valencia. I'm the marketing director and one of the main hosts here in the show. So if you're wondering why like your regular other 5 hosts aren't here with me, if you know them, Cholo, Sevi, Marga, Holly, Ral, it's because we have a lot of things planned for season 2. And season 1 super exceeded our expectations, right?
Yeah, it
Super,
did.
as in
Way
Through the
over
roof.
yeah.
humble, medyo yabang, pero like most of our views are still a lot bigger than the population of our school, di ba?
Two times? 3 times?
Siguro may mga
Minsan.
5 viewers tayo.
Minsan. So,
Pwede ba yun?
ibig sabihin like, we know that like, our parents, our friends, like all of the people who love us, yung aso namin have watched Discussion Room
Yes.
95 Season 1. So, I think it would be a great idea. We thought it would be a great idea to start Season 2 with explaining more of like the essence of the show, right? Because we have a lot planned. We have a lot planned, guys, right?
A lot.
A lot planned? A lot planned?
Super.
Grabe,
A lot
sakit.
planned.
Too much,
Sakit
too
sa
much.
ulo.
Better
Kasi
watch
a lot
out.
plan.
Too much.
Dami talaga.
Better watch out. Okay, so
Santa Claus ka ba?
to start
Better
it
watch
all, Mr. Derek,
Yeah?
ikot na lang tayo. Share some experiences naman of season 1. And
Okay.
like, what do you want to say to everyone who watched us during that time?
Super simple how season 1 happened for me. I was approached by this guy with very, very small clothes for him. And then later I'd get to know him as Mr. Marco Pantalyon from the Bosun. And then he told me, you have a nice smile and you seem to be a good administrator. Why not make something for me, which is basically the podcast. And at first, I was a little bit hesitant because I'm really not someone who likes the limelight, who really doesn't like all
Hindi
of
ba?
this attention.
Hindi ba, Derek?
No, I really don't.
Pero bagay ka.
Pero bagay.
Actually, ba you wash your face before we step?
Sorry, moving on.
It's like a song, guys. Bagay tayo
Anyway,
lahat.
continue.
Love you guys. Yeah, so that's what happened. And I couldn't be any more thankful for what we have done. On my side, on the administrative and logistical side, it was a nightmare. I'd go back to my place with all of these tripods, these monopods, and like what? Huge cameras, and I look like a one-man army. All right. So with all of these things that have happened and seeing season 2, the people behind the camera, the people that have supported us, nakakataba siya ng puso, man.
Here, here.
It really is something else. So, season 1 was a big success, but that doesn't mean we're gonna settle for mediocrity.
Okay.
So season 1 for me.
Galingan mo You need to match that.
Magdadasal na ako actually.
Okay, go.
Actually, when season 1 started, the reason why I joined is to improve my skills in videography and also in editing, but primarily because I wanted something to put in my CV.
Okay.
That was one of the reasons why.
So ginamit mo kami.
Oh,
User.
actually.
Okay.
But then as it moved on, I realized na parang we're doing something else. Again, as medyo gasgas na nga siya, unorthodox, unusual. And the reason why I stayed, even though I'm not part of the bosun, I just like to clarify that, is because is because one is I'm really enjoying what we're doing, and two, I can really see that not only the people who are watching, but the people who are part of DR95 are slowly maturing, slowly changing, not only for the benefit of the school, but for ourselves as well. So that for me is DR95.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you.
Okay, now this is going to be a letdown.
Okay.
We're on camera.
Okay.
Oh, so
We're on
what's also
camera.
season 1?
Yes, go.
So for me, season 1 was at first like just a tremendous chaotic situation. I had a simple vision in mind. I wanted to have a podcast. Yun lang. But putting the pieces in place, finding the right people, finding the right equipment, getting the right support from the bosun people was tough. It was so tough. And it took a tremendous amount of passion from these people beside me. A tremendous amount of willpower to come to where we are today. So very chaotic, but things fell into place. And I have to say that DR95 season 1 is one of the most fun, fulfilling, thought-provoking, and just enjoyable experiences I've ever had in UA&P.
For me,
Nobody
Yeah,
asked.
Nobody
Nobody asked
I'll
Kyle.
ask you, man.
so there are 4 founders here, okay? Ako lang yung naging main host because obviously none of these 3 people can do it. Anyway,
Yeah, I really can't promise.
so for me, the first season was intense. Like, we bled for this. But like, I think the 4 of us, the 4 founding people of the show, really like stuck around and like are still here because I feel like everything just clicked, right? Because like I remember our first few meetings, we asked the team, right, the 4 of us, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how impactful, how big is this going to be?
I remember that.
And then like some people di marunong magbilang answered 11, but the rest of us answered 10. Sino yung sumagot na 11? Okay.
Sorry.
Galing ka ba sa math?
Good job, JM.
No.
Okay. So I think that's the pinaka essence of season 1. It's like we expected the people who were watching us or the people who knew us to be around 700, 800. That was the projection, right? But after every week na lumalagpas ng 2,000, 2,500, I think the experience was sobrang fulfilling because you know that behind the scenes, we really bled for it. As we would start meetings at 8 o'clock, we would end at like 1 o'clock. And that was like, before there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people behind the camera. Now, dati talagang 4 lang kami. Like,
No kidding.
yeah,
kidding.
as in like, that was wild.
We bled for this. I think that's the best way to describe it.
And we'll explain naman later what the whole insight or like what the whole process is, right? Of like, why, bakit nanto trinay buuin in the first place. Pero like, I think in the grander scheme of things for the 4 of us, it's been one hell of a ride, boys.
So far, and
I
it's only
agree.
been one sem.
Yeah, and I'm
Super
quitting na
excited.
tomorrow.
We're only
Okay, so
Man.
one of our big changes for season 2 is that we are going to have segments. Right? Now we're gonna be super transparent with you guys. It's because we understand that like 30 to 45 minutes is a lot for a college student's time, right?
That's true.
For sure.
That's
But
true.
we're not gonna change. Kasi matigas ulo natin eh. So
Actually.
instead, we just wanna pack more value into the content that you're gonna watch. Para sulit din sa time nyo. Right? So for the spirit of this first episode, talking about discussion room, its journey and all, like what it means, let's use our first segment.
Ooh.
Derek, ikaw, what's our first segment?
Well, the first segment is called 0905.
0905.
Credits to
That
Ramon.
sounds amazing.
Credits to
Who came
Ramon
up with that
Joseco.
name?
Yeah, and his whole
Ramon?
team.
Ramon
Yes.
and his whole
Ramon is a
team.
genius.
Yeah. So the point of this segment 0905 is that we're gonna call someone and we don't know the answer that she or he will give. We gave her a question, her a question about yesterday, right? And then we said that think about it. You have time. Don't fill it with just compliments. You can say all the really negative reviews you want. The point of this is for to prove to you guys also that we really react on the spot. None of this from the host is ever scripted, right? So
Wrong.
anyway, so start na tayo. Is the call ready? Call ready?
Oh, hi Kit Kat. How are you doing, Kit Kat?
Hi, Kit Kat. So, Miss Kit Kat Galvez, can you share to us what you think of Discussion Room 95?
Yeah.
Well, actually, DR95, I'm not super an avid listener, although from what I've seen so far and from what I hear, it's a really nice avenue. Like what I said earlier, I think it's pushing the boundaries of what's become normal culture in UA&P, which is to say a lot, because not a lot of people get to really talk about things that we normally talk about. What I mean by that is, DR95 discussion, diba? When you're talking about the issues and the topics that we have in the university, you're giving it a proper space for people to dissect and flesh out these topics instead of just having it as hearsay or rumors or things that spread around. But yun nga lang, I guess the reason why I'm not super into it is because I don't know if the hosts properly represent the student body of UA&P. Like, I don't know all of you personally, but I don't see proper representation from the different segments of the student body. If not proper representation, then at least an understanding of them. And I guess then parang slight barkada vibe, which could be good, don't get me wrong. Barkada vibe can be very welcoming also, but it can also, if not executed well, be a hindrance, I guess. Na parang you're stuck in your own bubble, ganon. So actually, if I can, so I wanted to raise that concern to you guys na how can us, the student body, get more involved into the discussions you guys have? And I have a follow-up question. How will DR95 uphold the legacy of UA&P? Because you guys are representing majority of us. That's it.
I think we're gonna react to everything you said and super great points. So thank you so much, Kit Kat. Thank you na lang everyone. Bye, Kit Kat. Thank
Bye,
you.
Kit Kat.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
Thanks so much, Kit Kat.
Grazie.
Any reactions from everyone?
I'll try to go first here. I think those were very valid and fair comments. But the thing about this whole... Actually, that's what we were going for, diba? Barkada vibe. Because
sure.
we wanted to be as inclusive as possible. Now, do people feel alienated from it? Sadly, maybe that's a byproduct, but we did not intend to alienate people. So that's why DR95 is always open to people joining us. Our comment section is always open. If you guys have feedback, we'll call you up and we'll get your feedback. And we want to hear from you. We're eager to hear from you.
For me, when it comes to being inclusive, I think that's the reason why we take time also to pick our topics.
Yes.
Because the reason why we take time to pick our topics is because we want our topics to be relatable to the student body. So I think that's where it comes in. But again, I would like to agree with Marco that all of what Kit Kat said is very reasonable and very valid. So thank you, Kit Kat. We'll take that into consideration.
For me, it's more of the being inclusive thing is more like JM said with the topics that we tackle, right? The reality is we can't have 1,700 plus students here if that's if you want everyone to be represented. But rest assured, if you look at the profiles of the people we chose, it's a very wide
Agree.
bunch of people.
Agree.
Some of us, when our first meeting, we were friends. I was friends with sila Cholo, sila Marga. Pero in reality, hindi naman kami barkada before this right? And it's also important kasi na we chose people who can uphold a certain vibe, a vibe that
Yeah, that's true.
parang we were really chasing, something that is very like welcoming, hindi masyado formal, and like we believe lang na there only honestly there's not like a lot of people who can do that weekly, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Time
on a
commitment
weekly
is
basis
there.
on
It's a big
different
commitment.
topics,
It's a big commitment.
right? So I stand by the host. It's for me like no better 5 people, the 6 of us.
I agree.
To do this show.
Mhm.
Sobrang perfect yung concept.
Very thorough yung
Very-
selection.
I-
It's like
I
the
agree.
NBA draft.
Oh
It's like
my
the NBA
God.
draft,
Okay,
diba?
NBA draft.
Yep.
Okay, Derek.
Remember when they drafted Anthony Bennett?
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
Derek.
sorry.
We
Sorry,
love the
sorry.
Derek.
I go out of topic. Well, I want to clarify one thing about what Marco said that we'll call you up. I don't have load, so Marco will probably call you up.
Okay.
So, but
I give that a 3. I give that a 3.
Okay.
Derek,
Mabenta
do you want me to cut that out?
no,
And I made you last because
Go
I
lang,
thought
go
you had a
lang,
lot
go
to say.
Derek.
no, but I'll be honest here. The person who really had the hardest time approaching multiple people asking for all of these things is me. Because these 3 gentlemen right here are theory. This one gentleman right here is practice. So I've approached over 70 people, and even if it's okay for them to put their faces in front of a camera, the problem is sometimes time commitment. And one thing I want to clarify here is that the hosts aren't even part of the Bosun. They're doing all of this because they want to serve. They want to give back to the community that was able to nurture and help them grow. Same with these 2 gentlemen right here. They're not part of the Bosun, but they're really putting their best foot forward for this podcast itself.
Nagpapagamit lang kami actually. Nagpapagamit lang.
True.
Actually, I'm using this for the
Yeah,
CV.
yes, yeah.
Utilitarian.
I'm like I might get a job.
Sorry, Derek, but this is all for the CV.
Well,
We're
that's
joking.
part of the NBA
Okay,
draft.
okay.
Okay.
It's part of the NBA draft.
Sorry, Valentine's Day is supposed to be tomorrow, but I think my heart just got a little bit shattered right there.
Do you have go more to say?
Yeah, one last thing.
Okay, go.
Now, in terms of representation, like what Kyle said, the hosts that we got, very thorough. Number 2, they were able to meet the fulfillment and the need for them to always be here, to be committed. Not only that, but to take everything that they say into consideration, because sitting in front of a camera, it's no big joke. So that's it.
And I think like if you guys like we never wanted to market it to super specific, but if you look at it, you have your 5th year, you have a 4th year, you have a 2nd year, 1st year, right? Sobrang wide range.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you have your squadra people, you have your jocks, you have your
PMT.
PMT, you have your org people, and then you have someone who's working now. Anyway, so
Ogilvy.
anyway, whatever. So for that, I think this is the best solution to
You can't box us
Yeah.
in. You can't box us
because
in.
there are a lot of like check marks like na kailangan makuha para maging host of something this wild, right?
Yeah,
And I think we
a
got
lot.
the 6 best people, especially yung Kyle. Also, I wanna say something about the inclusion thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hintayin niyo yung mga segments namin.
Yun.
So,
Naisip na namin
yeah,
yan.
I mean, like, we might sound kind of defensive, but we're really not. It's just really na, after the first season, we've been hearing these kinds of things. And we really did something about it. Like, that's one of it. We want more people to be part of the discussion room.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do you guys have takes on
Thanks for your comments, Kit Kat.
Yeah. Thank you.
that? So, with all of that being said, with all those comments, I want to ask each and every one of us, hindi you guys, what is the very essence of DR95? What are we fighting for here? What's the big problem we're trying to solve?
That's
wants to
very
start?
interesting. I want to go first if you
Okay.
don't
Wow.
mind. DR95 was created by students for students. It's meant to be a mouthpiece towards the problems that they're afraid to bring forth. That's why it's the perfect blend of anonymity, but at the same time, accountability. Anonymity by telling one of our hosts or even us, I think this is a problem. And accountability by that host or by the org itself, the BOSUN or the program DR95, being the face that propose we need to change this problem. I guess that for me is DR95.
I think I'll go next na lang. For me, it's funny, medyo hot take to. Like, I hope no one gets offended, but like in a lot of ways, parang medyo selective ang unitas natin in some way, right? Like you have to be part of an org or a varsity. Sometimes you have to be super bibo with your block and all those things. And we super respect those kinds of unitas, right? But for people who clamor, like who bang their chest and say we have unity of life, I think the DR95 is just another way na the things we talk about are generally like a generational thing, right? We've talked about love life, like freedom of speech, like things that we actually like think of that sometimes we might be too shy to talk about, right? So if you want to talk about like a wider unita, something that doesn't really select people, it's the things that's more of outside or around us, not just yung mga hilig natin specifically. Something na talagang total inclusion. So that for me is Discussion Room 95.
Okay, so I'll go first. I'll go next. For me naman, I just like to say what a person said during one of our talks. He said, "Thank you very much, Derek. Thank
What a
you."
handsome man.
Oh my gosh. He said, DR95 is the voice of the voiceless. So I really like that because actually, because I really like that because the essence for me of DR95 is actually we're the people who are not afraid to talk about the things that should be talked about in school. Like for example, the Dragon's Freedom Wall. You see, those are the things that people are scared to talk about
Or shy
to talk about because it might backfire or there might be some consequences. But the people here in front, not us three, but Kyle and the other host, we give the school the topics that should be talked about and should be given a resolution to it. And that for me is Discussion Room 95.
So, for me, like, what is Discussion Room 95 for me? The theory of Discussion Room 95 for me was very clear. So there was a problem in the university that needed solving. And that problem was the Dragon's Freedom Wall. So anonymous people would post their thoughts online without accountability. It was either that or they wouldn't complain at all. So walang middle ground. And so the theory of Discussion Room 95, the essence of Discussion Room 95 in theory was to provide the middle ground, to provide a platform. But once you live in DR95, once you really watch the episodes of DR95, once you experience DR95, the culture, the people, the friendship, you'll realize that DR95 is a bit more than that. It's a bit more than problem solving. For me, it's unblemished, uncurated, an Instagram-aged version of Unitas. This is really Unitas for me. And this is one of the proudest things I've ever done in UA&P. So I love DR95.
And
Same.
And just to add, it's so, if you guys are wondering, like, yung mga sinasabi namin kanina, we start meetings at 8 and at 12, it's because we really wanted to do this right. Like, lahat talaga ng small details. It was fun, like, creating something literally from the dirt, right? Zero. As in, like, the ideation, and, like, now we have so many people who are great, like, working with us. But it's amazing how, like, we really stuck to principle. Like, we really tried to fix the principle. Even yung mga things like, oh, baka mag-comment kayo, why are you guys too casual? Pinag-isipan na rin namin yun because these are very deep, harsh topics sometimes na very alien na nga to talk about, like, in public, more or less, like, something na papakita mo to everyone else, right? So, I think DR95 is, like, great, not just as a show, but as a principle na pwedeng paglaban.
Agree.
You guys wanna continue? Meron pa ba kayo sasabihin?
One last for me. It's like, for me, one of my key takeaways from DR95 is, I guess if you do what you love, people will get attracted to it. And I'm sure you guys definitely can relate to that because you guys have been pouring your heart, your blood, your sweat into this.
We have poured.
Yeah. Okay, kasi I'm just like the opinionated boss. But if you do what you love, other people will notice it. And people are attracted to people who have passion. So, you guys are the most passionate individuals I've ever worked with. So, that's my takeaway.
Okay, nagkakapurian na po. Okay, so that's our take on what DR95 is. But aside from our very special 0905 call, we actually wanted to again bring more people into the discussion. For
representation.
This next segment, we went around USC and around the school to ask more people, like random people, what they think of Discussion Room 95. This is The
The
Rome.
Rome.
Hey!
What's up, UA&P? I'm Ramon Niseco,
And I am Rafi Leon, and we are from the Discussion Room 95.
where the discussion never ends.
So now we'll head on to USC and ask students about their thoughts on this week's topic.
And we are
The Rome!
Now we're with Andrea, a 36YP IMC student.
So Andrea, what do you think about the DR95?
Well, there are a lot of opinions that are raised in the videos, and the topics are things that we don't usually talk about on campus or that we talk about openly. So I think that it gives a fresh perspective and a different perspective than what we usually hear about those opinions.
That's good, that's good. Okay, so if you would rate them from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, what would you rate them?
The opinions?
In general, DR95 in general.
Yeah, like the whole concept.
I think that I would give it a solid 8.6.
8.6,
Yeah.
may point pa. Point pa.
Because I always believe that there's room for improvement, but
Okay.
I think it's a very, like I said, fresh concept, and I think that it could be improved, and I think that I'd really like to hear
Yes,
more, and
yes.
I'm looking forward to what DR95 has for us, the student body, next.
Okay, okay. So thanks, Andrea. Thanks, Andrea, for answering.
Hi guys, I'm Ezekiel Pili from BSBA. I'm here with Ramon and Rafi, and they're going to ask me a few questions.
Okay.
So Pili, what are your thoughts on the DR95?
Well, I think, of course, the point is to catch everyone up, or to bring everyone up to speed with the events in the school. But more importantly, I think it gives everyone, or it enables other students who aren't in the school to contribute and to relate to us.
Oh, okay. So, if you would rate them, though, from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, what would you rate them?
Based on the one episode I watched
What
about
episode
the
is it?
Freedom Wall,
Oh, okay, okay.
I'd give it an 8.
An
They-
8, wow. Okay.
They analyzed the topic well, but I can tell that the guests wanted to talk about some more unsafe topics.
Oh,
But
so it's
that's
like
forgivable
restricted.
since yun lang.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Pili. So now we're with Miguel, first year MSCM student.
So Miguel, what do you think about the DR95?
Well, when I first heard about the DR95, I thought it was the voice of the voiceless, which was a good thing in UA&P.
Yes.
Speaking out of the different problems we have here, the only problem I have with it, those who are speaking are actually kind of well known in UA&P. So it would be nice to hear some opinions of people who aren't that known or who don't have orgs.
That's true. So if you would give them a rating, how would you rate them?
Maybe an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And concern with your concern with the problem, we actually have a segment for that. I hope the people will hear this, pero you can contact us. You can contact us, just give us a message, and we will give you a voice. So thanks, Miguel.
Hey,
thanks,
thank
Miguel.
you.
Good thing you brought that up.
Hey guys, so now we're with Wise Carlos, a 4th year MSCM student.
So Wise, what do you think about the DR95?
So far, sa tingin ko is tinatakal niya yung mga issues na parati at mga hindi masyado pag-uusapan sa school. So both spectrums, like usually chill topics and minsan topics na relevant topics such as USG and all.
Oh, yes.
And chill topics like kegs and mga ganun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you have a question?
Yeah, so if you would give them a score, how would you rate them? From 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest.
Siguro mga 7.5.
7.5 not bad, not bad.
Got a 0.5.
Why do you give them a 7.5?
So tingin ko is okay naman yung ano nila, content. Although
okay.
yung okay din naman yung promotions. And siguro mas magiging effective if more people would watch it.
Oh yeah.
More people. That's true.
Need viewers.
Pero are you yourself a viewer?
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. That's good. That's good.
Thank you so much, Ramon and Rafi, for our first installment of The Rome this season.
One of a
And
kind.
like, super ganda rin ng mga sinabi nung
Yeah.
people.
Shout out. Yeah.
Like super objective. I really like how like some of them even gave like their criticism about us, which is great also. So
We need it.
one reoccurring thing that you would hear in the room is like really people really like the topics that we do. And I remember like every time we would meet about a topic, sobrang lalang away.
Intense.
As in sobrang lalang away, 'di ba? Right? Because like usually pag nagmi-meet tayo and like the people behind the camera would know this la. Ramon, Nathan, Al, yung mga more of like yung from last year kasama na. It's really hard to pick a topic. It's super hard.
It
Because
takes us
we all come from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
And so very different things are relevant to us individually. And a lot of us argue that some things are more important than others. So there's a fierce debate that goes on.
And like to be super in like it needs to be parallel with the vision of DR95, diba? Na parang regardless kung mahirap siya, we have a certain checklist. Like, do you want to speak? What's our checklist for topics, JM Farinas?
Oh. Okay, so for the checklist, how I perceived it to be, one, we check if it's relatable to all of the people. Two, if it's going to make a difference if we talk about it. Like, when we talk about this, will it affect the other people listening? So, and adding to what you guys said a while ago, na parang, when we talk about topics, it's long because that checklist needs to be like very, very evident
And like
per
minsan
topic.
pinag-aawayan kung check ba talaga.
Oh,
So,
actually.
And we have to make certain trade-offs. So sometimes a topic is relatable but not important to the student bodies. There are topics that are very, very important. Pero
I like the ano.
naiisip, pero naisip namin, sino makakaintindi nito? Wala masyado. So very thorough, very we need to debate about it.
And feeling ko, going back to the name, diba, discussion room, I think another factor we look at is, if narinig niyo yung opinions namin, it needs to be strong enough that you would either root for them or really, really like say na sobrang mali nun. Like root against us.
Actually, it's a hit or miss per topic.
But that's the point diba? Na parang we're picking these kinds of topics to really start a discussion. Regardless if you agree or disagree with us, talk about it. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Derek Lee?
Well, for me, what's really unique about all of these things is that another question.
Derek Lee, man.
So
This is why we take
picking
4
topics.
hours. This is why. Okay?
Too long.
One unique thing about DR95, if all of the viewers out there, you pick an episode and you skip to any timeline, you may be a freshman who's just entering and don't know anything, or you may be even a seasoned senior who knows everything.
I'll punch you.
It's a podcast where you don't need that much context, but it wants you to dive down to know more.
Yeah.
So that is DR95.
Yeah, super.
Exactly.
It's to include everyone in the conversation. That's why sorry, sometimes we can't say the jargons. Sorry, we can't give the full context of things. But what's important is that number one, you become a thought leader. You become a
Your shelf.
Your shelf.
Nagagawas man abi aking pagka-Ilonggo.
Ito na. Lumalabas na yung meeting na Derek.
Okay, again, this is why we last 4 hours. Okay?
So, for the students to become thought leaders themselves and to really try and research the truth and see if it makes sense at all. So that's DR95.
Like, can I add something to what Derek says too?
Of course you can,
Like-
boss.
So more of behind the scenes naman. Maybe like an insight as to why we take so long to decide a topic and there's so many ideas being thrown around is because I want to hear your opinions. I've never enjoyed disagreeing with people more than I have disagreed with you guys. It's such a fun process.
Yeah,
It's such a fun
super
process.
Fun. As in, yung like may times especially na talagang kami ni Marco kasi like sila marunong sila makinig eh. And they're really cooperative. Pero like
Thank you,
marunong
guys.
sila makinig.
Thank you.
Pero like kami ni Marco yung parang feel ko temperament lang talaga namin.
Plus,
Talagang
kami ni Kylie
Cold
nagaganon.
War.
Plus, it's different per person. So, there are a lot of times that me and Kyle would disagree with each other in terms of marketing. Marco would be the mediator. Sometimes Derek and Marco would disagree about administrative stuff, but Derek is just too kind. sometimes.
There are times
That's
din
true,
na
that's
we
true.
debate about like technical stuff.
Yeah,
Ay, pag
technical
ganun, labas na
stuff.
si Marco.
Oh,
Sobrang labas na si Marco pag ganun.
Wala akong alam din.
Not
And then
outside the topic.
usually when you guys would fight, I'll say, guys, I have an opinion. Derek, umupo ka. Okay, no problem, no problem.
That's not true, everyone. What are you talking about? That's not true. He's one of our like most beloved bosses, more than some other people.
Okay.
But anyway, so going back, another thing that you would hear a lot with the Rome is that the people, going back to the casting.
Yeah.
It's like, so, I feel like tayo, not to be, like, if we were just to be completely honest with it, right? It's really hard to, kung ganong kalaking diversity na habol nyo, it's quite impossible. Na gusto nyo talagang 15 Pinoy Big Brother levels, diversity, medyo mahirap yun. It's not everyone, mayroong mga caveats most of the time. Ayaw niya nasa in front of the camera.
Yes.
Like, medyo hindi outspoken or like minsan meron affiliation na hindi niya pwede i-damage, right? So,
but there were some occasions where I'd ask people, I really have great ideas but I don't want to share them.
Exactly, exactly.
Minsan ang ganda ng
Gagawa ka ng
opinion.
patent or
That's
something.
True. That's true.
Yeah, and
Ano, man?
I just like to somehow defend our hosts, pero not actually defend kasi those comments.
Defensive player of the year. Defensive player
my
of the year.
God.
JM Farinas. Because you can make free throws, so obviously.
Kobe.
good defense ka lang.
Kobe.
Anyway, going back, like, to all the SCM people out there, shout out.
I'm sorry, SCM. That was game 1. I'm sorry. But going back, those people really try their best. They really try their best to relate to everybody. As in, before nung simula pa lang, we would go into an episode na actually di nagmi-meet yung hosts as much.
Yeah.
And then as we evolved, like the last episode that we released, they actually sat down, set a time of a meeting, and discussed, okay guys, what can we talk about? How can we relate to the diverse crowd that we have? As in, they really take the time and effort.
Coming from a host also, I think the amazing thing is when you really sit down with, like, the first time I met with them, the other 5 people, talaga ma-feel mo talaga yung, I have an opinion, and I'm definitely not hiding it. As in,
That's
ganun
so
yung
true.
peg. Like, all of them, in their own different
Headstrong
way.
sila lahat.
From yung medyo laid-back style ni Cholo to more assertive, speak before, sometimes even, like, super assessing sasabihin niya, like your sister.
Oh!
Like, so, sobrang iba-ibang style, pero, like, ang daming in common na sobrang necessity for the show. One of them is, like, super not afraid to talk.
That's
Right.
true.
Okay, but another thing is, if you look at the scores they gave us, right? Wala nagbigay ng 10? Wala nagbigay ng 10?
That's fine for
But
me.
it's like
Biased.
100.
Walang
Biased.
tumama sa 9, man.
But to end this specific question, by the end of this season, what do you think the grade of the people will be for us?
12 to 13. Para sa akin.
Marco doesn't know
may isa
math.
na naman tayo. Hindi mo magbilang.
I-
Thank you very much. Sabi
I
niyo
evolved.
10 lang eh.
10.5.
Okay, Derek.
I'm gonna do a 10.1 with a bar on top.
What does that mean?
I learned it in math class once.
Oh, I probably
Guys, it's
Infinity
1 to
something.
10. I scored 13, guys. Everyone. So, I'm just saying, I think this is a great transition to our next question.
Game.
What does it take to shoot one episode? Kasi, alam nyo, we've grown a lot. I don't know if, for the people who actually watched 5 episodes, because there are a few, right? Makita mo yung sobrang difference. Now we have lights and we have mics, and look at this, like, we have super ganda ng SOPs, and like ang dali na lahat. We have a production team and everything. So what does it take to make one episode? And like, what are the learning mistakes that happened along the way?
Well, allow me to begin because
Yes, sir.
all of
Guwapo mo.
these things began with us first asking for a budget.
Yeah.
And then after asking for a budget, purchasing all of the materials, to which, by the way, lahat ng yon ako gumawa in a span of 2 months.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes,
Sorry na, hindi kami nakatulong. Like, nagpaparinig ka eh. This is Derek Lee's cry for help, everyone.
you know what,
Awkward.
guys? Being a host is really nice, and being in the creatives and the marketing is really
I
cool.
feel you, Derek.
Pero, ang hirap talaga maging lodge. Sometimes I bring all of the materials with me. Isang beses duman ako sa may gwardiya sa UA&P. Sabi niya, boss, parang papasok tayo ng gera with all of these tripods.
Technically, we are. Deep inside.
A conversational war.
Okay, continue what you were saying.
I'm really
Okay,
sorry for that, guy.
Okay, go. Go, continue.
Derek.
We
Yan.
apologize.
No, but what's really unique is that first we begin with marketing strat, which is made by yours truly, Mr. Cal Valencia. And then aside from that, it will go through me, and then I'll request for the materials, prepare the materials, and even some of the materials that we have are borrowed by our very, very, very kind friends. So shout out, you know who you guys are. Thank you.
You guys know.
Thank you so much. You made my life easier. So I'll pass it on to JM.
Thank you, Jar and Austin. Si Jar and Austin sobrang
guys know
dami
that.
Yeah,
namin.
shout out to Jar and Austin also.
Yeah, you kill
Jar, pogi mo.
Buti pa siya. Anyway, go, continue.
Okay, so when it comes to my side, because I handle production, so that includes the set and everything. Just to be honest with you guys, sobrang hirap. Kasi, one...
Pahirapan pala to, ha?
Tama.
Pahirapan
Actually,
pala to.
We're actually all just complaining because Marco works us to the ground.
Actually, guys...
Yeah,
No, actually...
Awkward.
We started kasi in school. So that was our first shoot ever in school.
Mhm.
And then we transitioned to a different place.
Do not tell them where we are.
This is a secret
This
location.
is a secret
Okay,
location.
but we transferred to another place, and it was hard because one, at first the lights that we have now, we didn't have actually good enough batteries. So at the middle of the shoot, the batteries would just turn off, or we didn't have stable like lights. I in fact didn't know how to handle the lights at first. I had to study that, so it was really hard. Kasi again, the whole process of DR95 was we had to evolve. We had to improve
did.
on the dot. Like
On the dot, on the dot. Okay.
Why? Why?
so
Jologs nga din pala kami.
Lumalabas na
Sorry.
Yan eh.
Okay, so anyway, so the process is in terms of my side is I tell Derek all of the things that we need for a shoot, all of the monopods, the cameras, the mics, the equipment needed, and then on the day of the shoot itself, I make sure that they're all prepared, all batteries are checked, and then when we get to the secret location that where we are in, I set up everything. But thank you to the other people helping, Nate, Al, Chan, also the new people, friends of Bosun. Thank you guys for helping because you made my life so much easier. Because these people would never help in production.
Okay.
Ay, kasi ikaw boss eh. Dapat ikaw
We
last.
try to
Okay.
make your
Dapat-
lives
Sa
better.
tingin nila kasi wala akong masasabi.
Yeah, okay. So, so kasi sobrang hirap eh. Sobrang hirap. Pag ang dami utos ng mga tao, yung mga boss. No, but seriously though, it's funny now that this is coming out. Kasi when we actually work together, bihira ka rin makakarinig ng angal.
Mhm.
Yeah.
More of like jokes na parang anong oras na naman.
Oh,
Like,
we-
dito na naman tayo. Pero like for me, my job is more of like marketing, like the branding, and yung overall like direction of where it goes. Yun naman, those are meetings na like kaming apat talaga, complete attendance. As in after class, after work.
Wow,
After class,
Mayabang.
after work talagang head to our special meeting place.
Yeah. Very
Secret
ito eh.
secret location.
And it's funny, like even yung dynamic of the team super evolved through time.
Mhm.
Like at first we tried the okay, converse lang tayo hanggang matapos vibes. Abutin tayo 1 o'clock. Tapos next, trinay naman natin na hindi, may strict time. Pero sobrang parang masyadong parang mabigat masyado sa feeling. So I think ngayon like another
Sweet spot tayo.
sobrang sweet spot siya.
Yeah.
And like even so para malaman nyo where we guys shoot, try nyo. Nasa ilalim kami nung pond sa ALB. Kami nag-shoot.
Yeah.
But for my side, having more people in, like, yung love talaga na nafe-feel from yung people who join, na parang instantly just like that, gets nila yung culture of DR95.
Yes.
Sobrang alam mo, it keeps you going.
Mhm.
And I think,
Really does.
and I think for the workload, I feel like lahat din tayo na shock.
Yes.
Hindi natin expect.
did not
Yeah, I
anticipate
did not.
this.
I thought like
Like,
one mic, one camera, like one venue, isip ng topic the day before, ganun lang siya kadali.
it's a full-time job.
As in, yeah, we were saying na it's a full, like it like yung 1 week that we take to plan shoots nowadays is sobrang bitin. It's just that we've found like certain procedures how to do it.
Yeah, actually, before season 2 started, we actually met every day. And even on a Saturday.
Yes.
Just-
I'm so tired of your voice,
My mom thought you guys are like my girlfriend or something. Kasi sabi niya masyado na akong committed sa mga...
you're gonna
Thank you,
break
Derek.
up with us
no.
before Valentine's. Okay.
But anyway, yeah, we met. So the whole process of it all is very, I would say, tiring. very strenuous kasi we talk about a lot of stuff, and those things that we talk about is very like hindi siya pwedeng mababaw lang eh. Kailangan we go deep dive into those certain topics that we talk about. So I guess it's very tiring. Pero again, I would like to say what Kyle said kanina na parang we never complained kasi we really enjoyed.
Sure,
Well, I mean, we never complained in front of Marco.
Yeah.
Never complained in front of Marco.
Agreed.
Like, siya,
Actually.
dumadating siya sa meeting, may latigo. Work! No, but like, another fun thing about it is that, sobrang walang YouTube channel, walang book you can read to start something like this. As in, we tried looking.
Crash and burn tayo.
Yeah, and like, share ko lang madaming episodes na shoot, like, tapos na. Tapos because of like, things we didn't know technically, like technical wise. Sorry. Wise, shout out to Wise, one of our people in the room.
Hi, Wise.
You're a good man, Wise.
Madidelete yung buong thing. And then we'll have to plan again. Tapos kailangan humabol. Like, JM has done a overnight edit of a video. Minsan lang kita pupuriin. Anyway, Mr. Bossing Dictator. Anyway, go.
Yeah. Well, totoo naman. Like, in terms of like hard skills, I'd say na wala masyado akong nako-contribute.
Masyado.
Wala akong nako-contribute at all. So, JM, Kyle, very technical, creative strategy. Derek's our go-getter. He gets things done. He's our executor. I guess I'm just the ideas guy. So I guess that's my value added to the group na I come in, I give my ideas, they throw some thoughts at me, I throw some thoughts back at them. So I guess that's what I do. I mean, what goes on in making one episode, I just try to help them process everything. I help them process the ideas, the topic, all the way down to maybe small things like logistics.
Yes. And like, I just want to add, kasi if bihira ko lang puriin si JM, ito hindi ko talaga kinakausap most of the time. But I just want to say then na it's super big thing that at the end of the day, this show is still like talagang ang thrust natin is from the boson, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of yung sinabi natin kanina on what this show stands for is in line with yung mission ng boson of this year, which is thought leadership.
Thank you.
I'm not boson and James not boson. Pinapangunahan na kita. Pero like,
not boson yet. So
I'm graduating. Anyway,
you think? I joke.
Whoa! You have to relax. But anyway, so I think that's the big thing here. Like if you hear all of our comments, ang dami na nangyari. Like the 5 episodes na lumabas, if you weren't there behind the scenes, like you would have never guessed na it's that amount of work. But it was never a complaining matter to us because again, during our first meetings, we said 10 out of 10. We bled for this. We fought for this, but at the end of the day, this is what we wanted anyway. So it's been super crazy. But it's probably one of the pinakamasayang things that I personally have done. I'm wearing something. Anyway, how about the rest of the team? Not just the 4 of us, right? Like, how would you describe the whole show's, the whole team's culture? For me, I don't understand how it happened. But sobrang close na rin natin, sobrang kulit na natin na we have our own inside jokes na. Alam na natin kung sinong aasarin natin most of the time. I love how there's a specific DR95 sense of humor when it comes to meeting and working, di ba? And like, it's nice that bagong sali pa lang people, they fit right in. Like yung mga dalawang people namin na makulit na sobrang kulit.
See things at the same time.
DR95 culture of the entire team.
Can I go first?
Sure.
No.
Because I have something short to say.
I was first, but you can go second.
Okay, second. No, actually, what's funny is because we never really recruited anybody. As in, it started with us 4, and then we would meet in a certain place, and then parang nagkataon lang na that they were there. And then they said na, uy, ang saya pala nito. So they said na, oh, can I help? And it became a thing na parang as they would help, they were getting more committed to the whole process of it all. And I think that's the culture. Now we get things done, pero at the same time we have fun
kahit si Nathan, binubully tayo, he still works a lot.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Ramon, bosses
Even
everyone
Ramon,
around.
Bully Kyle na, ang tanda-tanda mo na.
Oo, like sabi
We still work. We
sabi
still
sa
work.
akin alam mo, sabi sa akin ni Ramon the other day, bilang mo ang coffee bago yung meeting. Sabi ko, di mo
Wow.
post mo ako?
Wow.
I'm Ramon. Anyway, continue. Culture.
The culture of DR95 are a group of hardworking people where they work so hard, they need comedy to remedy the stress.
That's true.
Okay.
Ang ganda
Da-
nun. Ang ganda nun.
sense of humor.
Ang ganda nun.
Because there would be times yung nga, meeting tayo 8 o'clock and then we would end at 12. But then we would wake up at 4 a.m. to finish our homeworks, to maybe even do something for DR95. And then we'd meet all of these people who said, I want to be part of DR95. I want to be serious. I want to be someone. Then suddenly when they get to know us, they get to meet us, we are serious. But we have to crack that seriousness because at the end of the day, we're just human beings. And then our energies need to be refilled. And that's basically us having fun.
But are we human beings?
Now that's something else.
For me naman, I think Derek said it best. When he said that we work too hard, that we need comedy to sort of remedy how hard we work. And that's really it. You know how when you work at something, sometimes you feel spent, sometimes you feel so tired. In DR95, like walking home, gabing-gabi na, I just have a smile on my face because it was just so fulfilling.
That's so creepy. Like, I don't want to see you in the middle of the night walking, smiling.
By myself. So my point is, we just had a 3-4 hour meeting. Frustrated na dapat tayo. We're so sad. Pero I just find myself trying to revisualize the debates that we had in the meeting, the whole concept of the meeting, and I just find so much fulfillment in it. So for me, my bottom line is, in terms of culture, it's just fun. It's just, bottom line, it's just so fun, so funny, and it makes work seamless. That's my opinion.
Super. So, actually, there have been a lot of people, diba, who've been, like, going to us and, like, wanting to join. But the thing is, kasi, we really wanna preserve the culture that we have here, right? And as much as we want everyone to join, like, to join into the fun, kasi it's not like a very exclusive type of thing naman eh. Like, pag sali nyo, believe me, you'll fit right away. But we really are trying to get people who may specific na maambag. So actually, you guys need to wait for that. I think by the time this video comes out, nag-start ng recruitment, right? Recruitment's gonna be super simple. I think for me, rundown na tayo, the 3 things you just need to join DR95, the team, regardless if you're in front of the camera or behind the camera. It's, one, kailangan makulit ka, for sure. As in, like, yung dalawang girls talaga namin na first time, dito.
Exceeded.
Sobrang kulit. No, don't. Anyway, kailangan you are a good team player. Kasi ang laki na rin ng team, so mahirap to have, like, friction.
Yeah, like, you know when to give way for someone's idea.
Yeah, for sure. And since everything's, like, parang wala naman tayo susunod na parang sobrang strict na structure on how everything is, medyo may ko-conflict talaga yung ideas.
Yeah,
Of
right?
course.
Yeah.
And the third thing for me is, like, you get ready to be really good at some things. Kasi kunyari, these things, like, Derek needs to learn, like, Adobe Audacity and stuff like that. Like, we really want to push the boundaries of what UA&P media can be, right?
Yeah.
For you guys, paano makasali ng DR95? What do you need to have, at least?
Well, for me, what you need to have with DR95 is humility, to know that you don't know everything. And even if you think you're the best at your field, you're not, because all of these things will test you. And then number 2 is you gotta be a hard worker. You know what they say, talent is one thing, but being on time, making time for people, that in itself is hard work.
Pero not too serious din.
Yeah.
Of course.
Kasi
I'm really
mahirap
sorry.
yung ano eh.
You know what? Because these guys are the creatives and I'm the lodge guy, so I really have to be serious with all of these things because at the end of the day, mag-aambag lang naman ulit ng pera for whatever crazy idea.
Oh
these
my
guys
gosh,
think
this
of.
is becoming like
It has becoming a rant sesh, to be honest.
It's okay. It's okay. Susuntukin niya tayo after.
But I love the year 95. Please help me. Okay.
Marie, you wanna go or
You first.
Marie? Did you call him Marie?
Nakalimutan ko na yung
Marco.
question eh.
Marco.
No, for me, I just aside the things that they said, I think for me is volunteerism. one thing.
Big word! What a thought leader.
No, actually kasi,
Politika to,
whenever we're here in a shoot or whenever we meet, make no mistake that people who are with us are actually really smart, really good at what they do. And the mere fact that you will feel sometimes parang, how do I belong? Or what can I make ambag to the team? So the simple things really help. Like, you just suggest one thing na parang, oh, maybe I think this would help the team. Or maybe I think this topic would fit right in. Like, for example, si Ramon. Like, a good story is Ramon.
Yes.
Because Ramon just started out as a water boy. Well, he volunteered to be a water boy. If you can see in our previous episodes, he would...
Episode 3, no? 2, 3.
episode 2 or 3, he would come in and then makikita mo dun sa time stamp sa baba, Ramon gives water. And now he's the producer of the segments.
Yep.
Because he volunteered to do something and he later on realized, I can do something better. I can do something that will help the team more.
Yeah.
So that for me is what I see. In
Ganda naman.
Ganda. Best answer.
Ganda naman.
Best answer.
Marco.
Sa akin simple lang eh. Number one, you have to be aligned with the mission, the very core of it, which is thought leadership. Once na-check mo na yung box na yun, just make sure you're fun, just make sure you're adventurous, make sure you know how to speak your mind, and very aligned with what these guys have said already. You have to be willing to evolve and adapt. So more than anything, this is a team. And like anything in a team, you want to see where you fit in, how you can make the team better. But even if you don't have that added value immediately, stick around. Come to the meetings, come to the shoots, and you'll see the need and you'll fulfill that need. Shout out to everyone here behind the scenes. So that's my opinion.
As in, habang he's stepping out, actually, perfect nga example talaga is Ramon.
Si Ramon talaga success
Kasi like,
story.
I really,
Ramon, you can step out. Ramon.
No, I just really want to say, sobrang perfect siya. Kasi parang, now he's handling 3 segments.
That's true.
As in,
Big Daddy
he
na
fixes the call that we had with Kit Kat kanina. Kasi siya yung nag-fix nung shoot with Rafi, pero isa din siyang host. And now, meron kami isa pang segment coming up, baka later episodes. And he's handling all of that. And then, so, pakita naman, ka naman dito. Isang hi lang.
Hi, Ramon.
Ang kapal ng mukha.
Hi, Ramon. Yes!
And actually, props to him. Props to him because even though we gave him that position, sobrang yung mga comments niya during meeting, his suggestions. As in, it all really improved then.
Can I comment lang on Ramon's progress?
So ano to? Ramon show?
No,
another segment for Ramon?
Si Ramon magaling. No, case study lang for anyone who wants to join a team.
Yeah, exactly.
Case study lang.
Perfect.
So Ramon, I observe people, of course, di ba? And
may habang si Ramon.
Si Ramon at the start, he'll crack a joke here and there, but he'll listen. He'll listen to your opinion. And then, start of season 2, we've been planning episodes. He starts to speak out a little more. And then a little more. And then a little more.
Yan, core team na.
And then, core team na. And then, eventually, like, for me, I have to say, I respect Ramon's opinion.
No, I do too.
So, like, that just goes to show how, like, if you work hard, you'll get there.
Yeah, and like, like, the other side of that coin then is, kahit he does well in work, alam niya pag meeting ko kailan magjo-joke.
Yeah.
As in, sobrang saya pag tumawa na si Ramon, alam mo yung joke mo solid. Alam mo, may humor pala ako nadadagdag dito. So, that's for everyone who wants to join. And I hope, actually, if like lumapit ka sa amin through our recruitment process coming, probably like the
after the second episode.
Yeah. I hope mas madaming masali sa family namin. And yet, like, I've been to a lot of groups, a lot of like orgs and pero like ibang klaseng family talaga to.
Oh my God.
As in, the car ride going here was the most annoying thing in the world.
Pero sa
because
baba
of
lang tayo
2
ng ALB,
people.
diba?
Ha?
Sa baba lang
Doon nga
tayo.
tayo sa ilalim ng
kasi kailangan mo
pond
umikot.
na
Kailangan mo umikot.
So kung gusto nyo kami hanapin, talon kayo sa pond sa ALB. Okay. Now, one very intriguing topic na we masyado natin pinuri yung mga ibang tao eh. One very intriguing topic na I'll directly to our Mr. Boss is, nagka-think sa Dragon Freedom Mall na, ang ganda na daw ng DR95, pero is this really where yung funding of like some students, yung tuition nila go to? So can you explain that whole thing? Para ma-clarify naman, we're not really doing anything wrong.
So prior to my administration sa Boson, prior to my becoming editor-in-chief, there was a budget issue sa Boson and a lot of people who are higher years know about it na. And it's that people said na, basically the basic clamor, where is our funds going to? We pay the tuition, pero saan na ngayon? And so one of the first things I wanted to implement in my term is that number one, we have to be super transparent with where we spend things. And number two, we make the most use of the budget we're given. And so DR95 for me is an epitome of that vision that we laid out at the start of the year. If there's one single peso that isn't spent sa Boson, that single peso could have been used to service the UA&P body. So that's where we're coming lang from the Boson in terms of funding. We thank the student body because they fund the Boson, and rest assured in my administration, and I'll make sure to lay the groundwork for future administrations that nangangampan that every single peso in the Boson Fund is used in helpful projects like this, DR95, and a lot more useful projects in the Boson. And yep, in terms of funding, we're clear, we're transparent, and we want to spend every single peso to the service of the UA&P student
Basta
body.
it fulfills your mission.
Yep,
you know?
yep.
So for us naman kasi, again, me and JM are in Boson, and like from the quality standpoint, kasi we could have used like Chupipay stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
We feel like this can be one of the first big media things of UA&P, right? Like sobrang this is super new, nothing quite like it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So we really wanted to raise the roof na in terms of quality, right? Like bakit natin like porket we're students and all the time magpapaka-profesh. So
That's
talagang
true.
quality-wise,
Let's raise the standard.
inabol na. Oo,
Let's raise
talaga.
the standard.
Something to be proud of as a UA&P student. Hopefully,
Yeah,
one day, di
Like
ba?
hindi yung porket I'm in an org, maglalabas lang ako ng video. Let's make it the best video. Let's make it the most excellent video. Yeah, that's a good mindset.
Yeah. So, last two questions before
Okay.
we finish up.
Of course.
In the long run, what do you think is the difference of DR95 to anything else in UA&P?
I want DR95, like what we said, to be a dialogue of students, by students, for students. And hopefully in the long run, not only can it turn UA&P into a great university, but even a greater university in its own personal capacity towards its students. Because my goal is that the education that I'm getting right now, it's through the roof. It's great. But I know we can push greater heights.
Mm-hmm.
So DR95 is meant as some sort of feedback loop by the students, perhaps towards someone who may be interested in finding out what do they need to do to bring UA&P to that next great level to what it even has right now.
Can I go next?
Yeah, go.
So
Ang bilis ko na.
sorry, wala, may naisip ako eh. Story time naman. So, one of the stories I'm most proud of sa UA&P experience ko. So, I'm a transferee from Ateneo. After I spent 1 year in Ateneo, I went here to UA&P. And coming from Ateneo, ganda ng student politics, and it was very vibrant, very rich. And so, I came here to UA&P, my first election cycle. I noticed, bakit walang debate? What's an election without a debate?
Yeah.
And so, as a freshman, very ambitious freshman, I sabi ko, this university needs a debate. And so, ever since I was first year, second year, third year, and even now to my fourth year, the Boson is creating the tradition of hosting si club. So, I would just want to parallel that story to what DR95 is. So, I hope I'll graduate this August, but I want
Sana.
DR95 to be what SIC Club was to me back then. Building traditions and in the process helping the UA&P student body become more mature, become more conversant with each other, and become fuller persons. As cheesy as it sounds. Pero that's my vision for DR95.
Can I go first?
Yeah, go
Or
ahead.
Alaska. I, again, besides all the jokes, right, like, I've spent the longest time in UA&P. I'm the oldest, like, host and all that. It does really feel, like, the university culture really does feel young in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it
Parang
really
bata.
is.
Like, parang bata pa siya na parang, yun nga, kulang ng color konti. And it goes back to the main insight we were trying to solve that we mentioned kanina na there are some things talaga na sobrang would be very relatable to be talked about. There are things that are very relevant. For example, the school is just like very shy to talk about it, right? to show face na, oh, this is my opinion. What's yours? And maybe we can talk about it. We're a liberally educated university, so might as well use it, diba? So I think that's the main difference of DR95 to anything else. We're not here to market and to, contrary to what some very harsh critics say na nagka-clout chase lang tayo, yung objective talaga natin is to start a discussion.
Yes.
And a big part of that is not being afraid na if you guys hate us, go
Haters
ahead.
gonna hate.
Go.
Haters gonna
Go
hate.
and then discuss it with us.
Oh, yun.
Yeah.
Yun.
Ikaw kasi hater lang gusto mo.
Okay, so can I?
I
speak
mean,
now?
wala nang iba.
Okay,
You can go first, don't worry.
Okay. No, for me, as me and Kyle before when this thing started, or even back then, even last year, we would talk na we want to change the school for the better. As cheesy as it may sound, as gasgas as it may sound, now we really want the school to become a better environment, not only for jocks, not only for students who love the liberal arts, but for everyone, for every type of person. So I believe that this is the goal or the path that DR95 needs to take, is to be a avenue or to be something that will help the students or pave the way for students to become better in their own respective fields. People need to think, people need to speak, and the only way to do that is if they know that they can relate with other people.
Yes.
So that for me is the goal, is to continually be relatable, but at the same time make continuous change. And that's by helping the students or pave the way for students to do that in their own respective field.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I feel like we've spoken enough, right?
Mhm.
Ang dami na natin na cover. And like, I hope you guys comment down below, message us personally. Kayo bahala. Ask us anything you want about the DR or even comment. Jar, shout out. So, yeah, this has been episode 1 of season 2. Super quick lang. Imagine, sobrang dami namin plans for this season, right? Really raising the bar here.
Boom.
Actually,
Sobrang dami.
Kyle, di ba you want to say something about this coming Sunday? What's going to happen this Sunday?
What is happening this Sunday?
What's happening this Sunday is you can watch us finally on YouTube.
Wow.
Okay, so
Ang legit naman.
I was supposed to do that.
Oh,
for my
sorry.
closing, bro.
I'm sorry. I thought you were
Anyway,
closing.
so yeah,
I'm
like
sorry.
he
My
said,
bad.
he's trying to expand in terms of the platforms. Para it'll be easier for everyone. Because one of the things we heard then from the people watching is, diba, it's kind of hard to watch something this long on Facebook lang. So we're gonna have a YouTube channel. Baka naman.
YouTube.
Mama kayo. Baka naman, we're gonna have hopefully Spotify.
Yes.
Very soon.
Spotify.
We're gonna have our own Facebook page.
We'll be on Netflix.
And then madami yan. Madami pang other things like raising the level of production,
Yep.
the level of topics, and
Yep.
even like the hosts are getting really into this whole like nagte-training na kung paano magsalita dito, which is kind of hard. And like the 3 segments that really are for more of like inclusion para not everyone, like para mas madaming kasali dito.
DR95 is a work in progress, but we do this in service of the student body. So, apply, join the Bosun, join DR95. You'll have a lot of fun.
Well, for me, we'll continue making these sorts of things, these sorts of productions. We will trip, but we will never ever fall to mediocrity. That's DR95.
Oh,
Yeah.
and sorry, for me last, watch out for what's going to happen tomorrow. We're releasing something very, very special.
Something very, para medyo mas ma-feel nyo yung lahat ng
Yeah.
sinasabi namin.
Yep,
eh.
yep.
Oh my gosh, I almost forgot about that.
Exciting.
Ang dami na kasi plano eh. So, this is the first time I'm gonna do this closing and it's gonna be a staple na. So, for everyone here, for the next 0905, comment down below who you think we should call next for next episode. Don't worry, like, you can basically nominate anyone down in the comments, regardless Facebook,
YouTube.
And then for the room, just hang around USC. Usually, days? Wednesday, mga ganun. Tuesday, Wednesday, right? If you want to share opinions about certain topics. And then, so, I hope you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is www.youtube.com/BosonTV.
Bosun TV.
Yes, and then for our new Facebook page, which is www.facebook.com/discussionroom95 by the Bosun. And then, but all our content is also shared and available in UA&P's Bosun's official Facebook page.
Yes.
So this has been Kyle Valencia, your main host, with the rest of the founding people of Discussion Room 95.
Marco Pantaleon.
JM Farinas.
And Derek Lee.
So for the whole team here at Discussion Room 95, welcome to Season 2. Let's get
Welcome back!
Let's get it!